Good evening. Camp 3 News, and we've got the very lovely Debbie Evans and the very lovely Sandi Adams. How are we doing?
Good evening, everybody. And I think we've got somebody else, haven't we, Ant? Who have we got there?
We've got
Salem.
Oh, what a gorgeous cat.
Hello, Salem.
Salem, is that his name?
Salem,
That's
you're
her
beautiful.
name.
Gorgeous. He looks just like the cat that I had for 21 years.
She
I had a cat I had 2 cats for 20 and 21 years.
Yeah.
suits her name, actually, because I think she wants to kill us all, actually.
Oh,
Anyway.
so lovely.
Well, I don't know how we're still here. Actually, I'm still angry. I'm still burning.
You're still angry
Burning. Is that a good segue? I'm still burning. Can you see the smolders coming from my head? Woo, 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 woo. I was just sitting, enjoying a drink, writing some notes, and at 7 o'clock, woo, 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 not from my phone, from my son's phone.
This one.
Oof.
Issued by the UK government. There is a very high risk of wildfires nationally. Residents, landowners and visitors should not undertake any activity that could start a fire, including disposable barbecues, fire pits, garden incinerators or fireworks. Even a small flame can rapidly develop into a major wildfire, placing lives, homes, businesses and emergency responders at risk. Follow official updates and report signs of fire immediately by calling 999. Search gov.uk/alerts for more information.
Are we having a bit of government overreach here or what?
I think so. I
I'm
think
a bit
that's quite
suspicious.
alarming.
Well, do you know what? It's been interesting because since it happened at 7 o'clock, good evening, Raoul. Since it happened at 7 o'clock, I've been watching what's going on X. Now, my phone, I switched emergency alerts off and my phone didn't alert. My son hadn't switched them off and it did alert. But people on X are saying that they'd switched their alerts off and they still got it. And other people weren't getting it. Now, what I'm thinking is not only in 1976, when during the heat wave, there was no barbecue ban, by the way, but I think that this is a test because normally they tell us when they're going to put out an emergency, we're gonna test the emergency alert, or we're going to do this at 3 o'clock or 6 o'clock or whatever. But they did this out of the blue with no warning. So now they're going to find out who got it, who didn't get it. What was the reaction to it? Were people fed up about it? Did they react in a negative way? Did it frighten people the way that obviously it was intended to frighten people? Are people going to comply with this? It's to me, it's a big test and a big data harvesting exercise for what are they planning next? Yeah, why? Yeah, I said that, didn't I say that, Ant? Why have we got an American AI accent?
Yeah. It sounds like one of those. It sounds like the Starship log, and a warning. It's horrible.
I'm furious. How dare they?
Yeah.
How damn dare they interrupt my evening with that? You know what? I don't know about Sandi. You and I are a similar age, right? We're the same generation. We knew not to do things like that when the weather was dry. It was common sense. We were taught that by our parents, and people used to say, don't smoke, because a lot of people smoked back then. Don't smoke because it could cause, it's tinder, it's dry. It was common sense. We don't need this nanny state emergency alert frightening everybody half to death, do we?
I don't know. There's a lot of thickos about.
I don't think so. We managed quite well without it all these years.
People are getting dumber and dumber now.
So your sons went off, did it, Ant?
Yeah, he came downstairs and he was like, "Did your phones go off?" I said, "What are you on about? Your phone went off." I said, "Yeah, I've just had this UK government things come up." So I stopped mine year, 2 years ago. Well, years ago.
I
When they
did.
were talking about doing it.
I did too.
In your settings, but my son came running in going, look, security alert. And I went, oh, shut up. Because I just didn't believe him. I thought, oh, he's used something to spook me out. I thought it was a joke.
Yeah.
And then he said, no, look. And I went, oh, what?
Well, Burnham's put a little. It's so ironic. His name's Burnham, isn't it? It's so ironic.
Burnham.
But he burned them, yeah. And there's a quote that's come out there saying that the request came directly from fire and rescue services. We can all help them. Please take the emergency alert seriously and follow the guidance in place. Thank you, Burnham.
Yeah. What do we do then?
Burn off, I say.
Well, so he's straight away. They've had this Cobra meeting, haven't they? You know, it's not. Let's not forget the Cobra meeting of all the serious shit that goes on in this country.
Don't worry about the boats.
I know. Don't
Forget
get
the
me wrong.
boats.
It's horrible what's happened in Stourbridge. You know what? To those
Yeah.
people's houses. Let's not. Whatever's gone on there, that's
Yeah.
horrendous. We don't want that. Don't want that happening. But you know, to just ban. This is the Cobra meeting has decided to ban temporary. Did you need to do that?
And I agree with you. You know, this is not to take away from the disaster at Stourbridge at all. But when I heard that there was a Cobra meeting, I genuinely thought maybe this is about the boats or the cruise ships that seem to be coming across the channel. And when I found out it was about the weather, I think a lot of people were pretty angry that he'd called a Cobra meeting for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
They ought to have a Cobra meeting for the people of Piddington.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That
who
is
have been
just
invaded.
unbelievable. You know, Andy Burnham says, oh yes, but you know, we can't allow just the migrants to live in poor areas. We've got to target the affluent areas. And those people, I mean, I think it's only a population of less than 400 people.
Yeah.
And it's going to be 4 times the residents, you know.
All men.
Yeah, all men.
Edwina Curry says we
destroy
should open brothels.
Yeah, I mean, they said the children won't be able to walk to the shops or go to the playground on their own. You know, it's really worrying. It's really worrying.
But the thing is, it could be coming to any one of our
Mhm.
areas, because what we've got is, I'm seeing a lot of news stories saying, we've closed this hotel down, we've closed that. Yeah, but where have they gone? This is Operation Scatter. So they're scattering them into permeating them into all of our areas. And it's a case of, well, where are they going to pop up next? And the answer is everywhere.
Yeah,
Can we play that Edwina Curry clip?
Yeah, do.
Sorry, Sandi, you carry on, and then we'll.
No, it's just that they're finding all these old decommissioned army camps that they're putting a lot of them into, which is, you know, a bit strange, but that's what they're doing. They're taking them out of the hotel.
Yeah, but they weren't. But one of them, which one was it? Wasn't decommissioned. The cadets were there. It was a working camp. Yeah, there was all sorts of activities, summer activities that still went on, and they closed it in order to reopen it as a hotel for migrants.
Yeah.
Here we are. Here's Edwina Curry.
Oh, Edwina.
She's a delight.
The obvious thing that 1,200 young men are going to need in the middle of a village like Little Piddington is a brothel. I don't think they're going to provide that. I have a feeling that's not going to be allowed. But the obvious thing that 1,200...
So...
Wow, that's weird.
Pleasant lady, you know.
Dear, oh dear.
We remember Edwina, don't we?
Edwina in the COVID area wouldn't want to sit next to anyone, you know, but yet she's
I remember her with John Major.
Oh well, yeah, John Major, but you know, she's prepared to put the women at risk in brothels.
Yeah.
For these hungry, sexual hungry, deviant men could, you know,
Murderers.
That's an answer, is it? That's an answer.
Rapists. Do
That's
you
a
honestly
dreadful
think
response,
that?
really.
But
Really
does she
dreadful.
honestly think these men would pay these women? Does she honestly think they would pay them?
They'd probably fund it.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? This is the thing. They'd probably fund that. That's how sick it's
Out of
getting.
taxpayers' money.
Yeah. That's how sick it's getting.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous.
I mean, they're saying now that these migrants, I can't remember who it was that I was listening to, saying that when they're coming over, they're starting having families and they're having 5 to 6 children each. I think it was Charlie Veach actually, and or who was it? It was somebody that was calculating. Oh no, I think it might have been. And it was Tommy Robinson actually this afternoon on X, and he was in Manchester, and he was trying to calculate how many migrants had come in what year, and how long it had taken for them to double, and how long it would take for it again to double, and then how many children would be conceived and born as a result of 200 people. It was like 200,000 or something. It's like, wow, this is huge.
Angela Rayner thinks that the French are doing all they can. I've got a little clip of Angela.
French are doing nothing. They're putting them in boats and sending them here.
Growler.
Here we go.
230 people on one large dinghy. The policies are failing, Angela Rayner.
It's appalling and abhorrent what's happening, and the Home Secretary has already taken steps to crack down on these small boats and the criminal gangs that are bringing people over.
They're not working, Angela Rayner, are they? When I see photographs like that, if the French won't stop a boat that is larger than a double-decker bus, why are we giving them £1 billion?
Well, the Home Secretary renegotiated the deal that is on payment on results with the French, and we're seeing results. We're seeing the small boat crossings down. They're down the lowest since, I think, 2020. So we are seeing results, but I absolutely agree it's abhorrent that these criminals think that they can get away with this and put people's lives at risk.
But to my point, why don't the French do more, Angela Rayner? They can't not see a craft. You're right, let's not call it a dinghy. It's ridiculous to call this a dinghy. They can't not see a craft or vessel this size. Why aren't they doing more?
But you're absolutely right that any vessel or dinghy or whatever you want to call it that puts people's lives at risk and the criminality involved in that has to be cracked down on. I think the French recognise that and have been working with the UK government, and the UK government recognise that.
It's madness that she.
I don't suppose you've got the clip, have you? I don't know if anybody's watched it, but Andy Burnham was out doing his listening exercise, listening to people, and somebody came up to him and said, "What about the boats, Andy?" And he just walked away. He didn't want to know. He wouldn't. And I think he said something, a couple of words, but he just didn't want to know. So he's not engaging with anybody about the boats at all. But there's a policy for that. I know why he's not. But we'll come to that in a minute.
Yeah.
What a mess. Jesus Christ, it's a mess. Fabian Society, Debbie, you've been very passionate about the Fabian Society this past week, 2 weeks.
You know what I'm like when I get... Oh, by the way, before I talk to you about the Fabian, because you know what I'm like when I get my teeth into something. The MHRA did. Listen, Lawrence Talon, if you're listening, where's the MHRA board meeting, please, on YouTube? You've had a very long time. You've had six weeks now to put this meeting up, the board meeting held in public, and you haven't, and I've noticed, and I want it up. So going on to...
He doesn't watch us, Debbie.
Well, somebody might watch this that might just, hashtag MHRA, tag the MHRA.
You need to poke him in the eye, Debbie.
Oh God! Or if I could get close to him, I'd have a lot to say to Lawrence Talon. Anyway,
wolves in sheep clothing.
I've been looking at the Fabians for ages, right? Ages and ages, but they kind of just like faded from my memory a little bit, and everything else, I got distracted with everything else. But the whole Andy Burnham thing, as you know, as I've said before, I met him. I couldn't stand the man, and everything that I spoke to him about, he is now repeating, which really pisses me off, quite frankly. But I don't like him. I never liked him. I had a really bad vibe about him. I tried to warn people about him. And since he's been in power, I've just been looking at who he is. And anyway, I went back to the Fabians. I just thought I'd go and have a look. Just go and have a look, like you do. But you know what I'm like when I get down a rabbit hole, I go down the rabbit hole deep and I start finding stuff out and I start looking and researching, going back in time. And before I go on, let's just remember the Fabians, and I'll tell you the dates in a minute, but their crest used to be, they've got rid of it now, but it's still relevant. Their crest used to be a wolf in sheep's clothing. So I know you've got a little clip there. It's only a very short and it's a bit childish. I'm sorry, it's a bit childish, but I just want people to understand what is a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Someone who is a wolf in sheep's clothing looks harmless, but hides dangerous intentions. The phrase comes from one of Aesop's fables. A wolf disguised itself to prey on a flock. So when you hear this idiom, it's a warning. Appearances can deceive. Someone who is a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Right, so the Fabians are wolves in sheep's clothing, in plain sight. And what I have to say is that it's taken, I did my homework, right? I wrote my homework down and I tweeted it out. So Starmer was elected on the 5th of July 2024. He was a Fabian. Every single Labour Prime Minister has been a Fabian. Fact. So on January the 25th, 2026, Burnham announced that he wanted to stand for Gorton and Denton, and he got barred by Keir Starmer. He didn't really get barred by Keir Starmer. He got barred. It wasn't right time that the Fabians hadn't got him quite sorted just yet. On the 7th of May, Labour lost Gorton and Denton to the Greens. Also on the 7th of May, that very same day, the newspapers started to report Burnham's pathway to Downing Street. All of a sudden, it was back on the table. After Labour lost Gorton and Denton, Andy Burnham suddenly came back on the radar. On the 14th of May, just 1 week later, Josh Simons stood down. And this is a manufactured by-election, right? This is manufactured. On the 18th of June, Burnham won Makerfield. On the 22nd of June, Starmer resigned. On the 17th of July, there was a Labour leadership contest, which was uncontested. So he was crowned on the 20th of July. Now, that is 177 days. In 177 days, we've gone from one wolf in sheep's clothing to an even more dangerous wolf in sheep's clothing. Now, who elected him? I'll tell you who elected him. There were 24,937 people that elected him as Makerfield MP. And there were also 379 Labour MPs who stood behind him. Now, that equates, for bearing in mind we have a population of 70 million, or probably more, 80 million, that means 25,316 people in this country out of 70 million voted for Andy Burnham. That is, according to my son, please correct me if I'm wrong, but according to my son, that is 0.03% of the population that voted for Andy Burnham to become Prime Minister. So he's unelected. Now,
Selected is what they are.
Hey?
Selected is what they are.
Selected is really, really what they're. Now, the Fabians, they've blocked me on X. They've actually blocked me. It's like, wow, I'll take that as a badge of honor. But obviously, I must be over the target, because the one thing that the Fabians hate is attention. It's attention. They don't want to be in the limelight. They like to work under the shadows, in the shadows. Interesting that their office at 61 Petty France used to have Fabian Society signage all over it, and that's been taken away now. But on the top floor of the Fabian Society is the British Constitution Society, who are reorganising the Constitution on behalf of the guys downstairs in the Fabian Society. And it's only a tiny team. They're only a tiny, tiny team. There's 6,000 members of the Fabians. And when Andy Burnham made his speech to Labour and to the Fabians, he did it in a crypt, right? So when you start looking, Andy Burnham is a Fabian. He wrote policy documents, he wrote pamphlets, he wrote all sorts of stuff for the Fabians. Peter Mandelson was a Fabian. Every single Labour Prime Minister has been a Fabian. What was created first, Labour or the Fabians? It was the Fabians. And within the Fabians was a Labour committee. And that Labour committee became the Labour Party. But when Tony Blair was around, he created New Labour. We all remember New Labour. So what I'm saying to people is, and I'm guilty too, I think it doesn't matter who you are, but depending on where you are, who you're working with, who your friends are, what your life is at the moment, you change maybe who you vote for. I've voted Labour, I've voted Conservative, I've voted Green, I've voted Lib Dem, depending on my age and my thoughts and my views and what was happening around me. But I'm now looking at everybody who's voting Labour and thinking, gosh, you know, when I was voting Labour, I've been scammed. This isn't Labour. This is not the Labour Party. It's like a Turkish vape shop, or a Turkish barber, or a vape shop. It's a front. It's just a front. This red rosette with Labour on it, that's a wolf in sheep's clothing by their own very admission. And they're named after Quintus Fabius Maximus. Now, he delayed fighting Hannibal. He held back. And the Fabians, they permeate. They send people into different arenas, whether it's maybe Davos, or it's a hospital, or it's a university, or it's an institution. They permeate and they go slow. So they have this logo of a tortoise where they go slow. And Sandi will tell you in a minute about the time to strike. And they've waited 140 years for this moment. The Fabians have got a policy for everything. Andy Burnham hasn't got to do anything. In fact, I'm announcing Labour policies before he is, like the National Occupational Health Service. Bet you haven't heard of that before, but it's coming. So is the National Care Service. So is British Employment Insurance. All of these things are lined up. Andy Burnham's just got to literally speak them out. And for anybody that's watching, that's saying, oh yeah, but Debbie, you know, you're not talking about Freemasonry. Yes, I am, because I can tell you now that the new Welcome Lodge number 5139, you can Google it, you know, search bar it, new Welcome Lodge number 5139, is a British Masonic lodge open to all men working in the Palace of Westminster. As its founding membership was only limited to Labour Party members. It influenced the 1935 election. So you can see, listen, the Fabians, they are involved with, and we'll come to the funding in a minute, but you mentioned Rockefellers, Rothschilds, you mentioned the World Bank, you met anywhere, City of London, anything. The Fabians are everywhere and nowhere, and they don't want you to see them. They don't want to be under the spotlight. And their general secretary, and I know that you've got a video of Joe Dromey. Now, this is Harriet Harman's son. This is Harriet Harman's son. Listen carefully to what he says. Oh, and by the way, very quickly, I've noticed a pattern. Boris Johnson, MP, Mayor of London, Prime Minister. Andy Burnham, MP, Mayor of Manchester, Prime Minister. Sadiq Khan, MP, Mayor of London, ? But he is Vice President of the Fabians. So, with that in mind, we've got 1 minute of just watch and listen carefully who the Fabians are.
Well, the audio's poor on this video.
It's really poor.
There are subtitles though. I'll help you through if you can't turn it up any louder. Unfortunately, this is at full volume at X, so I do apologise for that. But let's play this guy.
Hi, it's Joe from the Fabian Society. The results of the elections last week were very challenging for Labour. There's understandably now a lot of discussion about what should come next. At the Fabian Society, we've been shaping the future of the left since 1884. We believe that ideas matter and that change is possible. In the coming days and weeks, we'll be trying to learn some of the lessons from the very difficult election results. We'll be thinking about where Labour goes next, how we can set out a bold new policy agenda, how we can rebuild Labour's fractured electoral coalition, and how we can instill hope once more. If you want to be part of this work, if you want to help shape the future of the left, please join the Fabians today.
I've put the link in the chat room anyway as well, but
I want to ask a question to everybody out there and to people that are listening. Please, we don't have a huge following on Camp 3, but we're trying to grow it. But we think that this is really important, and I would like anybody that's listening to ask, because we all know somebody that votes Labour, I'm sure. Somebody in our family, one of our friends, whatever. Did they vote Labour or did they vote the Fabians? And what do the Fabians stand for? The Fabians stand because they honestly have a policy for everything. So if you want to know about migration, just put in Fabian Society migration. If you want to know about the National Care Service, just put in Fabian Society National Care Service. If you want to know about global warming, just put that in and Fabian. They've got a policy for everything, literally. But does everybody that vote Labour, are they eugenicists? Because that's what the Fabian Society represents. And the Fabian Society also want all of us to give away our houses, our homes, back to the state. All that we own, remember the WEF, you will own nothing. The Fabians want the same, everything back to the community. Did Labour voters vote for that? That's my question. If they did, then that's fine. They voted for the right party. But if they didn't and they feel that they've been scammed, all I would say to them is I was scammed too. And I think shouting across a pavement and across a road isn't helping, left and right and all the way. We've all been scammed by a wolf in sheep's clothing. It's in plain sight. So I don't think the British like to be deceived. I don't think the British like to be scammed. So therefore, I'm hoping that because the Fabian Society is so tangible, I'm not expecting people that aren't aware of the bigger agenda, the Freemasons, Illuminati, the Rosicrucians, the Jesuits, the Club of Rome, all of that. I'm not asking them to take that on board. All I'm asking them to do is look at the website. Look at what they stand for. They admit they're proud of the fact that they produce Labour prime ministers and half the cabinet are Fabians. Shabama Mahmood is a Fabian. John Healey is a Fabian. Now, whilst you can't prove that these people have paid membership subs because there's no records, they're all linked. They're all on the website. So my question to Labour supporters and Labour voters is, did you vote for this? Or have you been scammed along with the rest of us? And I think if we're all honest, there are some things that maybe we disagree on the right and the left. But actually, Sandi, you were saying it before we came on, there's plenty of things that we agree with.
Well, I mean, what I'm seeing here is we're witnessing a sort of convergence of a century-old philosophy of expert-led social planning, if you like, social engineering, with technologies that finally make society-wide data-driven administration technically possible. And I think they've been waiting for this time for it to happen. Because if you look at them, the way I see the Fabian Society is they're the shadow people who are controlling the Labour Party from behind the curtain. And, I think the more that we expose them, which is probably why they must have taken all their signage down from their building in Petty France, is because that they realise they could be targeted. Because let's face it, the original people that brought the Fabian Society into being, people like George Bernard Shaw and Sidney and Beatrice Webb and H.G. Wells, they were all members of the Galton Institute, which is the Eugenics Institute. I mean, it was formerly the Eugenics Education Society. And, all of this stuff is really important because this is where their ideology comes from. And we're seeing, this eugenics thing playing out now since COVID and all that kind of stuff. So, the Galton Institute since 2021 is now called the Adelphi Genetics Forum. So they all morph into something else and sit in the shadows. So, also it was they were heavily involved with the London School of Economics. So they captured the whole economical side of, the economy side of things, and also the students and the ideology that's come out of the
and the New Statesman as well, the New Statesman and the London School of Economics. The Fabians founded both.
Yeah. And they've got all these different policy reports. I mean, I did a bit of a deep dive today into some of the policy reports that they had. There was one in 2020, which was the post-COVID one, and they're piggybacking on the fact that obviously COVID was engineered. I know that, you know that, most people don't. But the fact is that they've got one policy report after COVID, and it was called Better Off, Recovery and Transform in the Post-Coronavirus Economy. And on page 5, they say the task is to get at the roots of why capitalism is inherently producing economic instability. Well, I don't think capitalism did. It's these global shocks that are causing the instability that are being manufactured, like COVID, like the war in Iraq, not Iraq, well, yes, you could say the Iraq war, but also the recent wars we've had with in the Middle East and Ukraine. All of these are global shocks that affect our economy. And they're saying, well, this is what we're bringing in to actually be the solution to that. It's not. It's just going to make us all equally poor because it's communism. It's communism by the back door, and that's what we have to realise.
Only it isn't anymore. It's kind of by the front door, because if we can shine a light, if we can shine a light on these wolves in sheep's clothing, and I don't know if we've got it, Ant, or not, but have we got the George Bernard Shaw video? Or
I was going to play at the end.
Right, play that at the end.
Yeah, that's
I made at the end.
Keep tuned for that, because it's sobering. But the other thing is 61 Petty France, which is their HQ, and that's where the signage has been taken down. I watched Sam Williamism on YouTube, and he went to 61 Petty France and he filmed it. But if you go onto Google Street View, you can't get to see the building. You can go either side of the building, but they won't show you 61 Petty France. And you know what? I wish somebody would go and knock on the door and find out who's behind the door, what's going on, because everything seems to be controlled by the Fabians. And I know, and look at the money, follow the money. They've got 6,000 members, but who are they funded by? The Labour Party conference this year, well, every year, is the Fabian Party conference. Here we go. Look, Fabian Society at the top, Labour Party conference 2026, the Festival of Ideas. The funders, I think there's a screenshot of the funders. This is just for the conference.
This Festival Ideas. And then
and that's the funders just for the conference, right? Just for the conference. So you've got the Trussell Trust there, you've got Taylor Wimpey, you've got Central London Forward, you've got Refuge. You've got all of those. But then when that's just for the conference, but then when you go on, let's go onto their Twitter page. I've been blocked off that. The X page. I've been actually blocked.
This is what I think you need to do, Debbie. You need to join the Fabians.
Do you know what? I don't think they'd have me. I don't think they'd have
you
me.
need to infiltrate the Fabians.
I need to permeate.
That's the solution. That's the solution. You get in there.
Yeah, get into the Fabians. I tell you what, though, but if you go to the website, you scroll up and down Twitter. There you go. Look, congratulations, Andy. They're so proud of the fact that he was a Fabian candidate. And I think they're lining Sadiq Khan up for after Andy Burnham's burned himself out. But if you go onto their website as well, they've got a funding page, and you just scroll down the page and you see, there you go. Look, these are their recent partners. And there's the National Pharmaceutical Associations, there's the Octopus Group. Well, of course, there's a bit of a conflict of interest there, isn't there? Because Andy Burnham's wife, she's kind of like the controller of the EV charging ports in London for Octopus. So you've got all of these names that Uber, the City UK, you've got them all. And then as you scroll down the page, you've got a few more, and you've got charities there. You've got the Joseph Rowntree Foundation here. You've got charitable grants, their fundraising policy. And I think there's another page with more. They're funded by so many people. I can't even begin to tell you. The links are everywhere. And just to show you the degrees. So if you think about the Fabians, far left, right? These are all their policy documents. These are all of their pamphlets that they write. But if you think, just somebody make sense of this for me. So you've got the far left, right? The Fabian Society, who founded the London School of Economics. The London School of Economics also has Sir Paul Marshall. Sir Paul Marshall, London School of Economics. Sir Paul Marshall funds GB News. GB
The far
News,
right.
Reform, Restore, whatever. So in 6 degrees, you've gone from far left to far right. There's the connection, there's the patterns. So all you've got to do is the pattern. So what my big message, I know it's taken a bit of a chunk out of tonight's news, but my big message is I think that if we can all come together and understand that Labour voters and Labour members, they're not really Labour members, they're Fabians. But do they know? Do they know? Because I didn't. When I was voting Labour, I didn't know that I was a wolf in sheep's clothing. I had no idea that I was supporting somebody that supported eugenics and handing my house back to the state. So I'm hoping that if people can see this part of the deception, then maybe they can see more. Do you know what I mean? It's just, I'm throwing it out there, folks. Oh, and that book is this book. Look, I have to warn you, Guy Bouillon, this is genius. It's absolutely genius. It's a very, very thick book, as you can see. It's over 400 pages long, and it's heavy going, because what Guy does is he backs everything up, everything. So every single page you turn, you go, and you see another name that you weren't expecting to see, quite frankly, and you go, and he literally has got everything backed up. So,
and the cover of
sustainable development. I mean,
yeah, the cover of that book has the stained glass window.
Yes,
Fabian Society, and it's Sidney Webb and George Bernard Shaw at an anvil, hammering and fashioning the world into what they want it to be, with the other Fabians at the bottom watching. So, you know, what we're seeing here is them really, they are the social engineers behind everything that's happening at the moment, I think. You know, they've definitely taken, their policies are, without a doubt, I've seen correlations in their policies and the bills that are going through right now on devolution. Now, I really don't want to bang on too much, because I know that we've got a limited time, but Andy Burnham has been put in place. You know, Greater Manchester served really as a prototype for a model subsequently being extended across England. And what we're seeing now in the whole devolution and what we call local government reorganisation, they're calling it now, is the fact that Andy Burnham is creating a shift of power from Westminster to the mayors, and Westminster will disappear. Literally, that's what's intended. That Westminster will disappear, and the transfer of power will go to these mayors. Now they're saying that this is really good, because it's decentralising, because they know we all don't want centralised government. They're saying, well, we're decentralising it, but what they're doing is they're destroying our voices, because at the moment, awful though it is, when we have local parliaments, local government and parliament, we can at least oppose things. Once those mayors are in charge, they have ultimate power over police and crime commissioning, over health and social care, over education, over finance, over planning, everything they will be in charge of. So they can actually create lockdowns whenever they want to, without any recourse to the people. And this is what we're facing now. There's an organisation called the National Residents Association for Civic Accountability, and I would urge everybody to look at their website. It's the National Residents Association for Civic Accountability, and it's run by a lady called Madeline Hunt, who's I think she's the secretary of the Heritage Party. She's doing amazing work. Someone's just said it's not devolution, it's regionalisation, which it is. It's the other word for regionalisation. It started off as devolution, and if you look, that there's two major bills that I would ask people to look at. I looked at these a while ago, and I've been blowing the whistle on devolution for a long time. And it's the devolution white paper of 2024, and subsequently the communities and the communities empowerment bill of 2026, the devolution and communities empowerment bill of 2026. Both of those correlate absolutely with Fabian policies that were drawn up, and literally the month later the bills came into action. So I know that there's a correlation to be what's happening with the Fabians and devolution. They are directly linked, because Andy Burnham has been put in place to bring this through. And Andy Burnham, he said at his one of his now, which one was it? It was his local hero speech.
Yeah.
He said the transformation of Britain will begin at the regional level. This job allows me to be ambitious, radical, and gradual. I can't change everything overnight, but he will.
Taught us.
The shift of power from Westminster. So imagine just not having a parliament, not having local councils. They have ultimate power, and we have to stop this. National Residents Association for Civic Accountability. Go to their website. They have one, and they've got templates of how you, and I think Madeleine has just challenged it legally. She's found a loophole that you can challenge it legally through the fact that they haven't gone through due process, and that you can. She's found a loophole. So there are templates there where you can fight it, because once it's gone, it's gone. Democracy's gone.
Yeah, absolutely. Can we do a bit of an experiment, Ant? Because after what Sandy's just said there about devolution, because I'm still kind of like devolution federalism. How, you know, it is a fine line between devolution and federalism. However, if you put into a search bar, I don't know if you're able to, Ant, but if you put into a search bar, just as an experiment, the Fabian Society and devolution, because this is all I've been doing, right? This is all I've been doing. I've just been putting random words in with the Fabian Society. If you put PDF in perhaps as well, see what comes up, because I guarantee you that the Fabians have got a policy or a policy pamphlet for absolutely everything. So I reckon if you put in Fabian Society and devolution, something will come up.
Well, there we are.
If you go down a bit, you might get. Is this the AI recommendation?
Yeah, but it's picking up from the Fabian website.
Right. So yeah, look, take the power back.
The
Fiscal devolution. Listen, the Fabians have got a library of every single policy you can possibly, even water, and even Lidos. You know, they want us all to go swimming outside now. They're going to create outside Lidos for us. They've got a policy for everything. Seriously, you just think, oh, what's Andy Burnham going to do next? He's got a menu. He literally is going to a Fabian, taking the power back. He's going to the Fabian meeting, and they're saying, oh, next week announce this and this. They've got it all lined up. See, there you go. Devolution, the Fabians. That's all he's got to do. He's just the mouthpiece. So when we're all saying to him, turn the boats back, do something, he can't, because that's not the policy of the Fabian Society. He can't go against what the Fabians say. They're Fabians. They're not Labour. Essential reading is Fabian for You by Rose L. Martin on the Fabians. Right. I'll note that. Thank you very much, because I'm really into, look, we need to be talking about this, everybody.
Yeah, their policy documents are so telling. I mean, they've got one that was made in July 2025, and it's called Take the Power Back. And it backed the devolution bill and the transfer, which you know, before they actually created the devolution bill. The Labour's devolution plans will lead to a fundamental rewinding of England's political system. And they said, you know, was it a coincidence in December of that year? That was the 10th of October. In December of that year, in 2024, the English devolution white paper proposed exactly such a nationwide framework and greater powers for established mayoral authorities. And then they had in 2025, Take the Power Back. And this backed the devolution bill and the transfer of power from Westminster to the Global Covenant of Mayors for Climate and Energy. Did anybody know about the Global Covenant of Mayors for Climate and Energy? These are the guys that are going to be given all the power. And the bill subsequently became the English Devolution and Community Empowerment Act of 2026. So they have definitely got power
Oh.
over government policy.
Well, they've
And-
got a manifesto.
Yeah.
They've got their own. If you look
Yeah.
at the Fabian manifesto, it's a PDF. It's in blood red.
Yeah.
Blood red, and every single thing. So Andy Burnham, when people go, oh, he doesn't have a mandate, he doesn't have a manifesto, they do. They've all got the same blooming manifesto. Keir Starmer was working off the same manifesto as Andy Burnham now is, and if you look at it, it's got 12 points on it, and including bus fares, for goodness sake. Everything that we're seeing now is in the Fabian manifesto. You can take it, you can print it, you can read it, you can show it to people. It's real.
Yeah, but we've got a very small window to oppose this whilst we've got a parliament, and we have to do it now, because once it's gone, it's gone. Once they've brought this regionalisation in, we are stuffed, because we can't wind it backwards, because it just can't be done.
Exactly.
So we've got to
now
really oppose it now. And the National Residents for Civic Accountability, Madeline Hunt, she's amazing, and I think Rachel from Colchester, Rachel Matthews from Colchester, they've been doing a lot of work on it. I'm going to be interviewing Madeline very soon. Probably I've got to get in touch with her this week. Had a really busy week, but yeah, they're doing such fantastic work, and we need to really get this out. I did an interview with David Curtin the other day. He's passionate about this as well. Wonderful man. Amazing values he has, and we need to really get on top of this and stop Andy Burnham's evil plan.
We do,
and
and
Fabian Society,
they're about to strike. They've waited 140 years for now. They've deliberately held back. They've been doing things in the shadows, getting everything ready, holding back, being patient, and now is their time to strike. Well, you know what? It's our time to strike as well. We haven't, you're right, we don't have time to waste. The Palace of Westminster is going to go, Parliament's going to go, government as we know it is going to go, mayors are coming in. I don't quite know how that figures in Cornwall, because we don't have a mayor, so that's going to be interesting. But at the end of the day, we need to stick the Fabians, the wolves in sheep. Did you vote for a wolf in sheep's clothing? Well, we need to put them under the spotlight. Talk about them, call them the Fabians, don't call them Labour.
What they'll do, Debbie, with Cornwall is they'll amalgamate Cornwall with other, because they've done it with Somerset. They're amalgamating Somerset with Dorset and Wiltshire and calling it.
I don't think the Cornish will like that. They want independence.
Well, let's all go and live in Cornwall and get our pitch.
They want independence. Yeah, but then I said to somebody, I said to one of my kids, I said, you know what? If Cornwall become independent, which is what Cornwall wants, I'm going to be, I don't mind it. There's worse places to be trapped than Cornwall. Trust me, it's beautiful. But I'm not going to be able to go across the Tamar because I won't give biometric data. So I'm going to be trapped in Cornwall forever.
Cornwall's paradise. I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah, I'm not that worried. But
anyway,
yeah, so
probably rattled on a bit too much, Ant. Sorry,
we've gone on too much probably about the Fabians, but I do think everybody that it could be just the chink that all we need to do is reach critical mass.
Yeah.
We need enough people to row back to be able to see in front. And look, wolf in sheep's clothing. This is where I'm going to finish it, because I think it's an appropriate place to finish it. But a wolf in sheep's clothing. What was it? Matthew chapter 7. Can't remember what verse it was. Jesus at the Sermon of the Mount said, beware of false prophets, for they shall appear to you as sheep, but they'll be wolves in sheep's clothing. So this came from the Bible. This is a sign, folks. We need to be aware of the signs, and I'll end it there, but please, not the Labour Party, it's the Fabian Party.
Yes.
What happens if millions of us join the Fabian?
Oh, that's interesting. Do they vet you to join?
I bet. Well, I don't think I'd be allowed.
I suppose
now.
you just pay the subscription and join.
Do you?
I've no idea. I'm just saying.
The thing is, do you get me? But you know what? It's not just the Fabian MPs, right? They've also got the young Fabians, so they're bringing them up from young. They've got the Fabian women, and they've got councillors. So if you're in a Labour area and you've got a Labour councillor, ask your Labour councillor, are you a member of the Fabian Society? Because many of them are. So it's not just at high level at number 10 or number 10 North or wherever in the cabinet. It's down at your local level. You've got Fabians. So who is your local Labour councillor? Ask the question. We need to be. And then if they say, yes, I am a Fabian, say, well, does that mean you're a eugenicist? Does that mean you're going to hand your house back to the state? Because, look at the policies and look at their doctrine and look at their background. And is that what you stand for? Because I don't think an awful lot of people know exactly what they who they are.
Water, Debbie. What's been happening down your end with water? Because it's been fine up here, to be honest. But
well, it's been fine down here too. But they put us on a hosepipe ban, which is ridiculous. But 10,000 people in East England are out of water. And you know what, there's a little video, you probably don't want to play it all, but there's a little video, and this woman basically, she's saying, she said, well, it was a novelty on day one, but now we can't get any water and we're having to queue up for 2 hours to get a pack of 6 bottles 2-litre water. But then she worked out she's having to use 3 2-litre bottles to flush the loo. So she's not happy at all. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, I've got a lot to say about water. I'm not going to say it now because it will go on forever. But I think, again, this is a good exercise. What happens when you cut 10,000 people off? How many are going to panic? How much bottled water will you need? What will the press say? Will anybody be hospitalised? What will happen to vulnerable people in care homes or residential homes? I think this is just a big data gathering exercise, like the emergency alert was today. I think this is the government trying to scare us. They're trying to frighten us out of our wits, and they're data harvesting the whole time. They're using these as mini exercises to see what happens when they roll it out. Maybe I'm just too cynical. So you watch the water and pick up water when you go out. Simple.
Yeah. There's well, if you can control the water, you control the food, you can control the money, you can control everything that we need, then the people are well and truly in control.
And the other person that I think might block me soon is probably Fergal Sharkey, because Fergal Sharkey, who's the self-confessed king of sewage, he doesn't seem to want to speak to me. And you know what? I try not to blow my trumpet. I do try not to blow my trumpet, honestly. But I am truly the Erin Brockovich of the UK. I do know an awful lot about water companies. I know a lot about sewage. I know a lot about waste treatment. I know a lot about clean drinking water. I know a lot about how the water industry works. And you know what? Anne Widdecombe was working with me on it. But Fergal Sharkey ignores me. So I'm wondering, who's paying you, Fergal? Who's paying you? Because you don't want to speak to me, and I've got an awful lot of information because you're ignoring me, and I don't know why. It seems to be, I don't know, Sandi, and I don't know, but a lot of people seem to be blocking me and ignoring me, and I cannot think why.
What's Fergal Sharkey got to do with water? I don't.
He's a fisherman. He fishes.
Oh, he's a fisherman.
He fishes, and he didn't like the sewage in the rivers, so he started this whole big campaign, and now he's become the king of sewage.
Yeah.
And he's got hundreds of thousands of people on his X account, and he's probably going to be Lord Fergal Sharkey at some point, the sewer king of the world, or the water company king of the world. But he ignores me. And you know, that cheeses me off, because I've actually got quite a lot to say about water that he might find quite helpful, but he continues to ignore me. So I can only think that he's not working on our side. Just my assumption, just my opinion. I'm not accusing him of anything. It's just how I feel. Ignored.
I don't think Fergal watches our show, but he should do, though.
Listen, no. Wait. No. I messaged Fergal. Fergal started following me on X.
Oh, is he following you?
Yeah, and he messaged me 3 years ago, and said, what can I do to help Debbie? And I said, Fergal, great, can we talk? And you know what? He's ignored me ever since. And I'm putting out, you should follow me, actually. If you're not following me on Twitter, you should, because I don't mess about. I don't hold back.
He has got a good heart, though. A good heart.
It's hard to find. Yeah.
Do you remember it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's so hard to find. Even he can't find it.
Speaking of people without good hearts, though, Fauci. Let's quickly. So
he has no heart.
Zero
coming up in a hot
heart.
Sweat
There's nothing there.
Yeah.
So there was emails that came out that's been released of Fauci's emails where he has admitted that he knew that the COVID vaccine was causing damage to pregnant ladies. I know a few of us were trying so hard desperately to kind of stop all this going on. But as we know, back in those days, he couldn't help himself, could he?
However, when you look at the unvaccinated versus the vaccinated, there is absolutely no increased risk of that. So because of that, the CDC and the ACOG, the American College of Obstetrics and Gynecology, who used to say it is okay for for pregnant women to get vaccinated, to change now and say it is recommended that pregnant women get vaccinated. So it's really one of those things that's kind of not a close call. It really is pretty clear that pregnant women should get vaccinated.
Does it get any more evil than that?
Chris Whitty.
Evil beyond
Well,
evil. Yeah.
I have,
Chris
I have,
Whitty.
I have
I'm
Chris
waiting for
Whitty.
him.
I have Chris Whitty also talking about the same topic. Let's put that on, because obviously he was the mouthpiece, wasn't he?
Can't you feel
Over
me getting
here.
hotter?
So let me
Whitty.
bring our British gobshite on
Counterpart.
for that time.
And he's still in post, remember, folks.
And he's still in post. Yeah, there we are. Let's have Chris Whitty.
Could I just add one point, Prime Minister, which is it is really clear now that vaccination in pregnancy is a very good thing to do for you, a very good thing to do for your unborn baby, and new data demonstrating that it's actually also a very good thing to do for your newborn baby. There is now data that shows that it provides protection for newborns. So essentially it's protecting both you and your baby, and I would really, really want to use the opportunity, Gemma, of your question to encourage anybody who is pregnant and has not been vaccinated, please, to do so.
Yeah, that is.
Honestly,
These people should be in prison.
I just can't believe the evil.
It is.
The
I mean,
evil.
it's a long way away, isn't it, Sandy, from the fact that we couldn't even have, we weren't even allowed a half a glass of red wine. We weren't allowed to eat soft cheese.
Yeah.
Exactly. We weren't, because of thalidomide. But now pregnant women have to have how many? I mean, Cheryl's got a lot to say, of course, on this, but I mean, Sandy.
Well, soft cheese was listeria, wasn't it? And,
yeah.
And red wine was just because it's alcohol. Although
no smoking, no drinking.
Told me to have half a pint of Guinness before bedtime.
Hemoglobin, iron.
So that's what I did, and it used to make me sleep really well.
But I mean, it's wicked. These people are wicked, and they're carrying on. They're adding jabs. I mean, I hear now the RSV jab, which they were giving to babies last year, they're giving to the elderly this year. So it's more, and people, oh gosh, I've got to tell you, this woman, she was in the supermarket talking to her friend. She'd bought a PCR test. She tested positive. She'd had 5 jabs and she was complaining that she had COVID. So I said to her, because I said to her, do you not think it's a bit weird that you've had all these vaccines and you're still getting COVID? And she went completely blank. Anyway, I X'd it, and a lot of people say that people are still having these jabs, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and now we're coming up to the next lot.
Yeah, I mean, it is outrageous, and I know that before COVID, as we know, the deaths were low, and during COVID, and then it was when the vaccine rollout happened that the deaths really occurred. And I do know personally midwives who said that the mortuaries were full of babies because of spontaneous abortions, full-term spontaneous abortions, stillbirths, you name it. And it's heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking.
I just don't have words apart from evil. I just don't understand how human being can behave in such a way. I really don't. And then you've got these guys out in Massachusetts that voted for the abortion full term. And they're delighted.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
It's just.
So where is the sanctity of life? Because they're doing it at the beginning of life and at the end of life. We've got the
honestly, Sandy, I don't know. I don't know what's going on in this world.
I do. The Fabians have a plan. They have a plan for everything.
I think it's more than Fabians. I think it's all these people that have worked tirelessly in the background together for this to all come. So you can't blame anyone organization. I really believe that. And the fact is that we're living in what I think is a nihilistic death cult. They are literally, it's a death cult. They want a non-biological world. They want a post-human world. They want us dead. And they've openly said that they want the technology to take over and to have a non-biological world. That is a nihilistic death cult. They're anti-human and they're
Totally agree.
anti-life. Yeah.
Totally agree with that.
Yeah.
100%.
That is a baby at 24. That's murder, is it not?
That is
Of
murder.
course it is.
Poor little
Of course
thing.
it is.
I just can't get my head around any of that. I don't understand how are we allowing this to happen? People are voting for this.
I know, it's vile.
No, they're not just voting, they're applauding for it.
Applauding it.
They're happy, they're laughing, they're smiling. It's like, I don't know what to, I honestly don't know what to say, because it's just murder. It really is murder. But, you know, my last little story, because I know Sandi's got something to say about what happened to her at the weekend, but I just want to tell you very quickly. I went to see my GP and I saw him face to face, my own GP, my family GP that I've had for years. The first question I asked him when I walked into the consultation room, and he was quite taken aback, was, have you got any sensors in this room that is picking up my conversation? He was taken aback and he said, no, but I have an AI tool on my computer, a note-taking tool, basically a recording device that will record this consultation, and I can activate it or not. And I said, don't activate it. Now, apparently the NHS are meant to, everybody is meant to tell you if they're going to activate this AI note recorder on your consultation. It could be in the hospital, it could be in your GP surgery, it could be in the council offices, it could be with the police, it could be anywhere that you're being recorded. My advice to you is ask, am I being recorded? Are you note-taking using artificial intelligence? And what I've heard from people on Twitter, some have said to me that they do ask, and people just kind of, they're so into, oh, I've got to tell the doctor this and I've got to remember this. And they say, oh, is it okay if I take notes? And the person goes, yeah, that's fine. And it's just, you've given permission straight away for AI to pick up your conversation. So my message is, please ask the question. And if you're happy to be recorded, then that's fine. I don't know where that recording's going, which cloud it's going, who's listening to it, which computer it's on, or who's interpreting it, or even if it's been interpreted correctly. But if you agree to it, then that's fine. But if you don't, you need to say, please do not use AI to note take on this consultation.
Good.
Word of warning. Sandi, what happened to you at the weekend?
Well, I don't know. Have we got time?
No, you're all right. Sandy,
Right,
you
okay.
tell your story,
Yeah,
and then we'll end
okay.
with.
Well, it was interesting because I've noticed there's you know, that I live in Glastonbury and it's very, very split. Well, in fact, I think there's more people understand what's going on now than don't. Unfortunately, we've got a very woke Green town council who are very, very influential with a lot of people in the town who want to obviously keep in with the town council. So the town council, you know, the whole green agenda, the trans agenda, everything, the immigrants, all that is a very different narrative to what we understand. So anyway, we were asked, some colleagues of mine were asked to film a festival, and I know the organizer, and he's very much on our page. And it was called the Girt Dog Festival. It was down in Langport in Somerset. Beautiful weather. We had a fantastic talk tent with really awake speakers, you know, people talking about health and new kind of healing devices. We had a wonderful woman that spoke about bees and how they structure their society and how we could learn from them, and all sorts of really interesting things, as well as a lot of, you know, almost, you know, things like I talk about, like Agenda 2030 and the history of it. And I spoke also about global shocks and how they're manipulated in order to advance Agenda 2030 and advance the technology more than anything else towards this fourth industrial revolution, post-human world that they want us to be in. Anyway, I found out before before this gathering that some musicians from the town had tried to get us banned. Now, I'm banned from speaking in every venue in Glastonbury. I'm apparently, according to the town council, I'm a right-wing extremist and I'm an anti-Semite and I'm just about everything that you can think of that is bad. And so these musicians put up a big fight in order for us not to speak there. And they failed because the guy said, no, they're going to speak. But worse than that, the team, all of us were filming it for the organizer so that he had a good promo for the rest of the next show. And they were very, very, there was a lot of hostility against us. It was like, you're not filming us, you're right wing, all this kind of stuff. But what was really interesting is that, well, they shot themselves in the foot because people retaliated against that. There were a lot of people there that understood. And I think the narrative is shifting a bit. And there's great anger that we weren't stopped from speaking, and great anger that we were allowed to put our views forward. And the festival ended with the headline act, which is a guy called Steve Hillage, who's a well-known musician from a band called Gong way back in the way back when, I don't know when, but he's 75 and he's stuck in this paradigm, as they all are. A lot of these old musicians are stuck in the paradigm of left and right and of old politics. They don't understand that actually it's a uni-party, and what we're really going for is global government, and it's nothing to do with left and right. They haven't got that. They're not there yet. So they were absolutely dumbfounded as to how people at this event were supporting us and allowing us to speak, and they were very, very angry. And Steve Hillage, unfortunately, was awful to one of our speakers, and her name's Emma Dunwell. E Speaks Freely. She's amazing. She's a really, really good 22-year-old young woman journalist, and she'd done a fantastic talk in the afternoon about what it's like being in Gen Z right now and how difficult it is to break out of that ideology. She did. She broke out of it, and she made mistakes along the way. She affiliated herself at first with Tommy Robinson. She's realized what that's all about. She's gone the right way, thanks to a lot of mentoring by myself and others. And she's now completely independent. And she did a wonderful talk about how difficult it is, how bad it is, and how it's grooming to give children puberty blockers, which is what's happening from the age of 11. And then what happens to them as they get older and go through that process when they try and detransition. Nobody's talking about that. Nobody's talking about the suicides. Nobody's talking about the fact that it is child abuse when parents are encouraging them to go through this process. And it was a fantastic talk. Unfortunately, she then wanted to interview Steve Hillage, and he agreed, but it was a trap. He lured her into where he was staying, and because he was told that she was told that she could interview him, and he turned on her, humiliated her, absolutely said, "You're the last person in the world I would be interviewed by. You are despicable. You are deplorable." He said the most awful things to her. This is a 22-year-old woman standing up for really important issues, and he's stuck in the 1970s, a Zimmer frame champagne socialist, and it really annoys me. Anyway, I got really defensive because Emma's such an amazing person, and I just wanted to call out Steve Hillage. What a prat. Sorry.
Wow. How is Emma? Is she all right?
Oh, she's fine. No, she's so strong. We all rallied around her, and it was awful because she was in a room full of his band, and they almost tried to block her as she was going out, and were really laying into her. It was bullying. It was worse than that. It was abuse. It was horrible. And shame on you, Steve Hillage, and
wow,
and all the bands who were there, who were vile to everybody who was trying to do good work. Yeah.
Well said, Sandi. Well said.
And actually, I'm hoping that next year we'll still be allowed back. I hope people don't buckle under the pressure of these idiots who don't understand what's going on in the world. I really hope so. Anyway, that's my Tom's worth.
Keep going, Sandi.
Well said. Well said.
Keep
well
going.
Said.
Keep going.
Keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's only when people get really angry with us, that you realise that you've
they're
hit a
desperate.
nerve.
They are
Yeah.
desperate. And
Yeah.
the thing is that what I tried to say, because I then got battled on a few local platforms, forums, and I just said, listen, while we're all arguing about left and right, you know, vaccinated, unvaccinated, you know, LGBTQ or not, or whatever it might be, immigrants, whatever it might be, they are implementing this agenda, which is all being forced through by the technology and by all the people that are supporting the Greens. All of this technology is coming through, and the digital ID and all that sort of thing. We should be joining together to stop it. Forget about left and right.
Exactly.
Put to one side, you know, all the division, because they want us divided. They want us arguing about everything. We need to come together about things that we do agree on, and then let them sow the seeds, and then let them, you know, understand what's going on, because it is a process. It really is a process. You can't tell anybody what to believe. They have to work it out for themselves. And if you can start with what we do agree on, because there was one person that said, I agree on everything you said except you're not climate change, and I said they're using that as a vector to bring everything else in. So it's a learning process, and it takes a while. And bless them.
No, I completely agree. Completely agree.
Yeah.
Hence why they've divided and conquered humanity for thousands of years. They know exactly what they're doing. And until unity really comes forward and we really do start coming together. Hence, we should all join the Fabians.
Oh,
let's infiltrate.
No, but seriously, you know what? I'm not here to incite hatred. I'm not here to tell people what to do, and I'm not here to give suggestions. But it would be nice if somebody were just to go and knock on the door at 61 Petty France and say hello.
Oh,
Will you? Somebody's got, you know, Petty France, where they are, they're surrounded by military buildings and Parliament. It's a very powerful place, Petty France. So go onto Google Maps and have a look and see if you can see it. I bet you can't. It's like a little Harry Potter. It's like a little Harry Potter sweet shop. Honestly, it looks quite quaint. You'd never think that so much went on behind the doors.
It's like the Antarctica, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's another discussion for another time. If we want to end it with this video, I put together a video, an introduction video, when we did an event back in Birmingham last year called Event 101. And it was a bit of a spoof day, an attack on the event 201, if you like, that they did leading up to 2020. And the video really is a very quick snapshot on how society has changed. And there's a bit of a Fabian influence within the video, and it shows Tony Blair. It shows the 90s as the free time,
New Labour,
and how things changed very, very quickly. So stick with us for a few minutes and have a watch of this, and then we'll see you all next week, I hope. Don't know what
thanks,
day that'll
Sandi.
be yet.
Thank you so much. It's always lovely to see Sandi.
Definitely,
It's lovely
Sandi.
to see you both. You're doing such wonderful work. Thank you.
So are you.
Keep coming back, Sandi. Keep coming back.
I will.
So let's play out with this, guys. Lovely for everyone that's joined us again for the show, and
please share,
and we'll have more to talk about next week, no doubt.
Oh, we'll have plenty to talk about.
You ready?
Ready.
To all punishment whatsoever. I don't want to punish anybody. But there are an extraordinary number of people whom I want to kill. Not in any unkind or personal spirit, but it must be evident to all of you. you must all know half a dozen people at least, who are no use in this world, who are more trouble than they are worth. And I think it would be a good thing to make everybody come before a properly appointed board, just as he might come before the income tax commissioner, and say every 5 years or every 7 years, just put him there and say, sir or madam, now will you be kind enough to justify your existence? If you can't justify your existence, if you're not pulling your weight in the social vote, if you're not producing as much as you consume, or perhaps a little more, then clearly we cannot use the big organization of our society for the purpose of keeping you alive.
You can walk my path, you can wear my shoes, learn to talk like me, and be an angel too. But maybe you ain't never gonna feel this way. You ain't never gonna know me. But I know you. Singing in that thing can only get better. It can only get, take it on from me, you know. I know that things can only get better. Sometimes lose myself in me. I lose track of time, and I can't see the woods for the trees. You set them alight, burn the bridges as you have gone. I'm too weak to fight you. I got the best in the world to do it. And then you say, walk my path with my shoes. Talk like that, I'll be an angel and things can only get better. Can only get better. Now that things can only get better.
The mission of the Pandemic Emergency Board is to provide recommendations to deal with the major global challenges arising in response to an unfolding pandemic.
We could be looking at double the number of cases in 1 week and 16 times as many in a month if we are not able to stop the spread.
We're at the start of what's looking like it will be a severe pandemic. And there are problems emerging that can only be solved by global business and governments working together.
Where the social media platforms have to step forward and recognize the moment to assert that they're a technology platform and not a broadcaster is over. They, in fact, have to be a participant in broadcasting accurate information and partnering with the scientific and health communities to counterweight, if not flood the zone.
One thing we haven't spoken about, and I'm wondering whether it's time to talk about this, is a step up from the part of the governments on enforcement actions against fake news.
You know, in fact, the testing could have been ramped up very quickly in a few countries that have almost avoided the epidemic entirely, like Taiwan, New Zealand, Australia. You know, they took their experience and actually prepared, and so they moved a lot faster. So we, you know, we'll have to prepare for the next one. That, I'd say is will get attention this time.
Controllers of planet Earth. Are you there? Speak to me now. We have a problem. A big problem. It's the people. They are waking up.
To apologize for every single fucking version of Windows that sucked, which is basically all of them. Also, sorry for creating viruses just so I could profit from selling you the antivirus software. And on that note, sorry for spreading real viruses by profiting from vaccines and shit. Also, sorry for sterilizing so many of you. There's just too many of us, and some of you are not nice. That's why I'm trying to block out the sun. Anyway, I just came here to ask for a pardon from all the Epstein shit. Thank you.
And that is why today I am announcing this government will make a new free of charge digital ID mandatory for the right